There's a strange silence coming from Sony lately, the kind that gets creators, filmmakers, and hybrid shooters talking in hushed tones. It's the silence that makes you question whether something significant is brewing behind the scenes or if a long-awaited product has quietly been abandoned. For years, one question has echoed across forums, social media, and comment threads. Where is the Sony A7S IV? The anticipation surrounding this camera is palpable, and the uncertainty only intensifies as months turn into years without official news. In this article, we'll explore the legacy of the A7S line, the rumors swirling around its next iteration, the debates within the Sony community, and the possibilities of whether the A7S IV is truly on the horizon or quietly shelved. To understand why the current silence feels so ominous, we need to revisit why the A7S series has always been so important. When the original A7S launched, it changed the way people thought about mirrorless cameras. Instead of joining the megapixel race, Sony went in a completely different direction, prioritizing sensitivity above all else. The original A7S featured a 12-megapixel sensor designed to excel in low light, delivering cinematic results in conditions where other cameras would struggle with noise. It wasn't about resolution. It was about capturing creative possibilities in near darkness. The A7S II built on that foundation, refining the low-light performance and cementing the series as the go-to option for filmmakers who needed uncompromising performance in dimly lit environments. Then, in 2020, the A7S III arrived after a long period of speculation and rumor. Its release was eagerly anticipated, and it largely lived up to the hype. With 4K 120 FPS video, exceptional low-light capabilities, and one of the most reliable autofocus systems ever implemented in a mirrorless camera, the A7S III was a dream for filmmakers and a versatile tool for YouTubers and content creators. It proved that the S in the A7S line still meant something special: sensitivity, adaptability, and cinematic quality. However, since then, the landscape of mirrorless and hybrid cameras has changed dramatically. Panasonic's S1H and GH6 brought bold, cinema-oriented features to the market. Canon has blurred the lines between cinema and stills with the R5C and C70. Nikon's Z8 and Z9 raised the bar with performance that challenges even Sony's strongest offerings. Meanwhile, Sony has expanded the Alpha lineup in nearly every direction except one, and that absence, the silence around the A7S IV, has begun to feel increasingly deliberate. Rumors about the A7S IV have circulated for years. Early leaks suggested that Sony might retain its 12-megapixel sensor philosophy but upgrade it with a BSI or stack design for faster readout, reduced rolling shutter, and even better noise performance. Speculation ranged from 6K recording at 60 frames per second to 4K at 240 frames per second, features that would push the A7S line to the bleeding edge of hybrid video capabilities. Other rumors hinted at AI-powered autofocus, enhanced color science, and predictive stabilization, borrowing technology from Sony's more recent flagships like the A7RV and A9 III. All of these potential upgrades made perfect sense. Sony had the tools, experience, and processing power to turn the A7S IV into a masterclass of hybrid filmmaking. And yet, despite all this potential, the leaks and rumors have slowed to almost nothing. Trusted sources who previously reported accurate information about Sony products have gone silent. Some insiders have even admitted that no credible confirmation of an A7S IV exists. No one in the industry has solid proof of its development. In its place, conversations have begun shifting toward the FX32, a more cinema-focused evolution of Sony's compact video line, which may merge elements of both the FX3 and A7S series. This shift has sparked debates. Is Sony quietly phasing out the S line? Within the Sony community, the discussion about the A7S IV has become one of the most intense debates in years. On one side are loyalists, filmmakers, content creators, and YouTubers who swear by the A7S III and argue that the series still serves a unique purpose. Not every creator wants an FX3, which is essentially a cinema camera stripped of photography functionality. For many, the A7S line perfectly bridges the gap between Sony's professional FX cameras and the more generalist A7 models. Discontinuing it could alienate a dedicated group of users. After all, the A7S III still sells well. Its compact size, hybrid capabilities, and low light performance make it a profitable model even today. Some enthusiasts compare Sony's approach to modular cooking. The company uses the same foundational technology to create a variety of cameras, each with a slightly different flavor. Why remove a dish that remains popular? On the other side, analysts and industry observers argue that Sony is simply consolidating its resources. Expanding the FX series while keeping the S line creates overlap and confusion for buyers. Producing too many models divides engineering and support efforts, complicates firmware development, and potentially reduces focus on higher-margin cinema products. There's also a philosophical question. What does the S stand for in 2025? Originally, it represented sensitivity, unmatched low-light performance, and exceptional dynamic range. But in today's market, where stacked sensors, AI processing, and global shutters are becoming standard, the A7S formula may no longer be unique. High ISO performance is no longer a differentiator. Hybrid shooters increasingly demand higher resolution, oversampling, and flexible post-production options. The S line's once exclusive advantages may have outlived their relevance. So, has the Sony A7S IV been cancelled? At this point, there's no official confirmation either way. The absence of credible leaks and the mounting focus on upcoming models like the A12, A7S V rumored, and FX32 paint a worrying picture. Some insiders speculate that Sony may quietly retire the S series, replacing it with an upgraded FX3 that functions as a spiritual successor, catering directly to filmmakers while the A7 and A7R lines handle hybrid and photography needs. However, others point out that Sony has a history of surprising the community. The A7S III itself was announced after years of silence, emerging when most had written it off. It's possible the A7S IV is being developed under deep secrecy, perhaps incorporating global shutter technology or other next-gen innovations. If true, the A7S IV may not simply be an upgrade, it could represent a reinvention of what the series stands for. Either way, the question remains, is the A7S line truly gone, or is it merely lying dormant, waiting for the right moment to return? This question lingers in the minds of filmmakers, hybrid shooters, and Sony enthusiasts worldwide. The fate of the Sony A7S IV, whether it eventually arrives or quietly exits, marks an important chapter in the evolution of mirrorless cinema cameras. Its absence, or eventual return, will be felt by a community that has long relied on its low-light prowess, hybrid versatility, and creative freedom. Until then, we watch, we wait, and we hope that Sony will once again deliver a camera that lives up to the expectations of those who have believed in the S for so long.